Hi guys, it's Sarah from Book Nerds and Fangirls, and today I'll be doing my top 10 books of 2016. I say top 10 very loosely in this video because this the sad thing about it is I only read 10 books this year. It was a very busy year for me in other aspects of my life, so I couldn't really pick. I really wanted to pick up books and read them this year, but I always found myself interrupted or not being able to, or finding interest in other things like my fan fiction, which had a very positive year. Like, I loved this year in fan fiction. Fan fiction, I just couldn't get enough of writing fan fiction, and I love writing fan fiction. So I'm guessing in the year 2017 I have to focus more on reading and fan fiction and trying to find a balance between the two because I suffered in my year of reading because I opted to choose fan fiction instead over reading, and that makes me sad because I do love reading books, but I also love writing stories. So it was a tough year in the way of reading for me. So here goes nothing. Onto the books. So coming in at number 10 is my worst book of 2016. If you were on my channel, you know that I only had like one rant video out of every single book I read. So you probably know what it is by now, and that is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Now, I know people who love this book, and I also know people who hate this book. And the people who hate this book are totally get me, because it's the same reason I hate this book, because I do not like Celaena Sardothien, is what her name is? Yeah. I do not really like the character of Celaena Sardothien in this book, and maybe if I pick up Crown of Midnight, is it Crown of Midnight? Yeah, I think it is. That's the next in the series. And maybe if I picked up Crown of Midnight, I'd probably like her a little bit better, because I do hear that she gets better as the series progresses, but in this book, I didn't care for her. I thought she was more of a whiny teenager than badass assassin. It's kind of like she's a Kylo Ren of assassins, and it's horrible to say, but that's just my opinion. If you like Celaena, that's awesome. I generally don't care for her. I think she's kind of whiny. I've seen a lot more badass characters in books, and Celaena just didn't really do it for me for badassness. Like, she says she's the best assassin ever, and yet she has to cheat off other people to win competitions. Like, she cheated off that one guy who knew poisons. And I'm just over here like, she didn't really know how to do that, and I get that she's trying to learn, but maybe if it was more like the background if this was the background story of the greatest assassin in the world, and we were going back to the time she wasn't, that would be one thing, but this girl's the most feared assassin in the world, and a lot of people beat her very easily, and I'm just over here like, okay, whatever. So Throne of Glass, I gave a very low rating. I didn't like it. There was a few saving graces in this. I love Chaol to death, and Chaol is the only reason I continued on with this book and didn't DNF it, and I might pick up the second one just because of Chaol, and from what I heard the series kind of like teeters between good and bad, and I'm just over here like, do I really want to pick it up? No clue. We'll find out later in 2017. So coming in at number 9 is not a horrible book per se, but it was definitely the biggest disappointment I've read in 2016. 16, and I really hate to put one of my favorite authors on spot number 9 for being very disappointing this year, but that's Soundless by Richelle Mead, and if you've been around my channel long enough, you know Richelle Mead is my ultimate favorite author. I love the Vampire Academy series, I love the Succubus Blues series, I love the Dark Swan series, even though I hate the ending to that series so much. I hate the ending to Dark Swan series so much. And then of course, the Bloodline series. Richelle Mead is a very awesome and amazing author, but whenever I found out she was writing something that isn't per her usual, I was very nervous, and it turns out my disappointment wasn't misplaced, because this book was so boring. It didn't really do much for me. Like, you can't really do much with a high fantasy standalone in this many pages, and I didn't really, it was such a short book that I didn't really find attachment to any of the characters. I didn't find myself liking any of the characters. I just thought they were okay. I wasn't in love with them. The love interest I could totally see coming from a mile away. They tried to insert like a small love triangle in there, but that didn't work because we knew who she was gonna end up with from the get-go. So Soundless gets my number 9 spot because it was so disappointing, and I just didn't like it. So sorry, Richelle Mead. Better luck next year. So coming in at number 8 is The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torre. I read this book like at the midpoint of 2016. I was very excited for it because I haven't read an erotica about a cam girl who murders people because she's stuck in her house because she can't help the fact that she loves to murder people, and one girl in her apartment goes missing one day, and she decides that she's gonna go find this girl because she thinks she knows who did it, but she's going on loose fact. Well, this book was pretty entertaining. It did lag in some parts, and I really didn't care for some of the erotica in this, nor did I care about the love interest that she had. I thought it would have been better if they just totally excluded the love interest altogether and just focused on her trying to find this girl by herself, because the love interest is very problematic in this book. And I don't like problematic love interest, so this book didn't really do it for me, but I did find myself enjoying some aspects of this book. I really want to read more books about the minds of criminals because I'm really fascinated by criminology and getting into minds about why criminals do what they do. So hopefully in 2017 I'll have a better reading year than this, but this book gets my number 8 spot. So coming in at number 7 and 6 are 2 novels that I'm really gonna get hate for, but these books don't really get higher up because nostalgia doesn't really. It's like, I read these books because were nostalgic, and I thought it would, and I've already read these books. They're more of a reread for me, so I thought it would be actually a horrible decision to place them any higher on this list because, yes, this series is amazing, and yes, I am gonna get hate for putting these 2 on 6 and 5. 7 and 6. But, in all honesty, there were a couple more books that blew me away this year than this because I already knew what was gonna happen in these 2 books, so it didn't really stick well for me. And yes, they're nostalgic, but at the same time, Same time I couldn't place them higher. So coming in at number 7 is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. And I will be having a book talk for this one coming tomorrow because I'm going to be watching Chamber of Secrets movie because I'm doing a book versus movie review on this. I just couldn't. I actually finished this like 2 weeks ago, but I couldn't get to Chamber of Secrets until just yesterday. So I got the movie, and I'm gonna watch the movie and do a review of this. But Chamber of Secrets was really boring to me. Not a lot happened. There was quite a few things that happened, but not enough to entertain me. And the ending was kind of a little bit lackluster to me, and I don't know. Hopefully Prisoner of Azkaban is better. I'm on Prisoner of Azkaban right now. And hopefully I just blow through this series because I'm trying to finish all the Harry Potter series so I can do a reread of them. So that's why that's on there. So coming at number 6, if you haven't guessed, is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I prefer the first book way more than the second book, and that's because of the world building and the interaction to the characters and seeing how much the characters have progressed in the story as opposed to how they first started. So this was nostalgia, and I found myself being really sad to read this because Alan Rickman died this year. So it's very hard for me to read these and picture Alan Rickman in my mind as Snape, as well as watch the movies because he's not here anymore, and he'll always be my Snape. And Judge Turpin, if you haven't watched Sweeney Todd, which is like one of my all-time favorite movies with him in it. So, on to my top 5, which I really did appreciate these ones. So coming in at number 5 was the Fallen Kingdom series by Morgan Rose. I loved this series at the beginning of 2016. I thought it would make it like higher up on this, but as I was thinking about it more and more, there were 2 characters I really disliked in this book. And they're 2 of the main characters in this book. I didn't really like Magnus. I didn't really like Jonah. I liked Cleo and Lucinda, and the world building was amazing, and the storyline was amazing, and what happened at the ending was tragic but amazing, and I just love Fallen Kingdoms, and I'm really trying to get through Rebel Spring at the moment. But like I said, I have way too many books to read, and I don't have all the time in the world to read my books. I think I'm gonna put myself on a book buying ban for this year so I could get through all of my books on my bookshelf that I have yet to get to because I've accumulated quite a few books that I haven't read, and I just need to get through those before I buy any more books. But this one, it was a really fun time. I really loved it for what it was. I'm not really a high... It's like, I don't know if this is counted as high fantasy, but usually I don't reach for this genre all that much. I heard it was like a teenage version of Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones, so I picked this up. And I wasn't disappointed, and I just loved it to tears. So we're going on to the top 4. Number 4, I was surprised I put it at number 4, but there were 3 more books that impressed me more, which is weird because whenever I read these books, I didn't give them a high rating like I did this book. This book, I think I gave 10 out of 10 stars because it just blew me away. But the more I thought about this book, the more, and the other books, the more I lowered my rating for it because yeah, the plot twist was amazing, but some parts of the book I was just, I wasn't so invested in it like the other books, and that's Everything by Nicola Yoon. I still love Everything. It's one of my favorite contemporaries besides those down there and Every Last Word, and I really loved it. It was very different. I've never read about a girl who is allergic to everything. everything around her, so I found that aspect fascinating. I found the love interest to be kind of bland, but at the same time, I didn't really expect much when it came to the love interest. I loved the scenes when they went to certain places. I liked that, and I did really enjoy the plot twist because, yeah, I saw it coming, but at the same time, I really didn't want to believe that that would happen, and it did. And I've actually thought a lot of this book after watching someone's worst list and this being on the worst book, and I was like, why? Why did you hate it? And then she explained it as the plot twist is more of a cop-out, and in retrospect, looking back at it, it was kind of a cop-out, but at the same time, it was a very good plot twist, and I really liked it, so this book deserved the top 4 spot because I really did enjoy it, and this is the first Nicola Yoon book I picked up, and for being a debut author, this is like the shit right here, so everything. So coming in at number 3 is a book that I don't have a review for, but I did finish it in the year 2016, and that was November 9th by Colleen Hoover. One thing I love about Colleen Hoover's books in general is that there's a lot of diversity to her books. Not in the way of color, but in the way of her characters have disabilities, her characters have body disfigurements. It's refreshing to read about non-cookie cutter characters and their insecurities, because it's refreshing to read from the perspective of someone who has an insecurity, because I really hate the plain Jane, the trope when the girl's all like, oh my god, I'm just so ugly, and she's like really pretty, and there's nothing legitimately wrong with her, she's just a plain Jane, and I really don't like that trope. But this one really got me to connect to the characters, and I was like, okay, I get why you have body issues with your body and issues with things, and I like those characters. And this, I think her name's I'm like, Fallon in this one, her thing is that she has burns on the side of her face, like the whole left side of her body is burned because of the fire she was in years ago, and it was interesting to see that aspect play out because I never really read a lot of these books before. Colleen Hoover is probably a very legit author. I have almost all of her books on my bookshelf to read, and I'm excited for them. But I love the relationship between Fallon and Ben. But I also loved that these characters did have their problems. It wasn't like a cookie cutter relationship where there's like a couple of problems and they're just like very small and minuscule problems. These problems that these people have in this book are legitimate problems for relationships, and I appreciate the fact that it takes place over a single day, and it takes place over years. It's like it starts when Fallon is 17 and continues until she's 23 years old, and that was a pretty interesting aspect. I don't know how to describe this book without going into spoiler territory here, because there was just so much about this book that I loved, and I appreciated the plot twist because I didn't see it coming. Like, this plot twist hit me like so super hard, and I really enjoyed it because it is a huge the plot twist was a huge problem for the couple, and I thought they were done. There was a legitimate thing like, they're done. They're just done. Do they end up together? Who knows? But But oh my god, it's just, I want to reread this book because it was so good. So good. So coming in at number 2, it's a book I didn't think was number 2. I was actually thinking it was going to be like number 5 or 6 in my pile. And the more I thought about this book, the more I just loved this book. And that was Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. Now, let me get on to the fact that I do not like cheating, but this book made me really think about it. It not only gives you a perspective of someone who has been cheated on, but a perspective of someone who is getting. It's like there's a lot of perspectives. There's the perspective of the person who's been cheated on, a person who's cheating, and it just really made me think. It really made me think about that. It made me for the person who had been cheated on, because cheating is despicable, but it also made me think about the people who cheated in this book, which is really hard for me to accept. But this one, it found me on my moral compass, and any book that makes me question if what I'm really thinking is right or not is a very good book in my opinion. I did appreciate the fact that one of the main characters in here is deaf, and one is hard of hearing, and I loved the music aspect in this book, and I loved the ending in this book, and I did love the use of sign language in Maybe Someday, because I've taken a couple courses in sign language, so that was a really cool aspect. I would love to see this movie played out, and just because it's a book about cheating and I liked it doesn't mean I agree with some of the viewpoints, but at the same time, it was kind of like having a debate with someone who is firmly against cheating and someone who is not, and I like debate. I like debating about it, and I liked how this book really made me think, and books that make me really think about what I believe in definitely get a top spot on this countdown. So Maybe Someday, good job. And coming in at number 1 is probably a book that everyone has thought by now, because where is this book? This book I gave the number 2 spot last year in 2016, well, the first book in the series, and the more I thought about it, the more I was like, man, I should have probably gave it number 1, because my number 2 is Number in Ashes versus Every Last Word, and while I did love Every Last Word, this book built onto the second book, the first book, and I really loved it. Not to mention, I got a perspective from one of my favorite characters in the whole entire book series, which I was glad about, because it wouldn't make logical sense to have her not be in this book, because then we're just following 2 characters that are with each other, and that would be really fucking boring. But number 1 spot has to go to A Torch Against the Night by Sabaa Tahir. This book had me on the edge of my seat. I kept on guessing. I never really I thought this book would go in this direction, but it went in that direction. This book was unpredictable. It made me happy. I still don't really like Laya as a person, but in this book she does get better. Even though I really hate her jealous insecurities when it comes to Elias, and I still ship Elias, but at the same time, I wouldn't mind her hooking up with Helene hooking up with the other guy in here, because they were just like really cute and adorable. But I really appreciate that Helene had a few chapters in this, because I wanted to know what happened to Helene, and the more I read from Helene's point of view, the more I really wish that this book was from Helene's point of view, because her storyline is more interesting to me than Elias and Lia's. and Liz, and I think Helene's point of view really saved this story. It was really interesting. I can't wait to see if what Helene does in the next book, because it's gonna be so epic. Epic, and I can't believe I have to wait until 2018 to find out what happens in the third book. Because I want it in my possession now. I really want it, and I really wanted to be here, and I just love this book so much. So much. I love the characters. I love the plot twist that was in here. I loved the fact that not everything is what it seems in this book, and how some characters that were good are evil, and some characters you think were evil are kind of like on borderlining in this book, and I just love them. Love the whole nothing is black and white in this book. There's always shades of gray, and most of the times they're in a gray area in this book, and I'm just so amazed. And I really hope there's a Helene chapter in the next book, because I need my Helene. She is everything in this book, and I love the quotes from this book, and I'm in love and with the series, and it might beat out Vampire Academy for my favorite book series of all time. I have no clue. No clue. But there you guys have it. That was my top 10 books of 2016. What were your top 10 books of 2016? Comment down below and let me know, and I will see you guys later. Bye!